welcome to another edition of the Goalpost, your front row seat to the biggest story in football. From thrilling match breakdowns to explosive transfer news, from tactical masterclass to unmissable insight, we cover it all. Big goals, big moments, and even bigger debates. I'm your host, Oluwamayowa. I'm not alone. I'm with the usual suspect. It's a TGIF edition, and there's a lot of football to talk about this week. I'm with Timmy. Timmy, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning to us here in the studio. It's an amazing week, impactful week. Football here and there, and we see Tottenham again stumbling in the big game. I think it's safe to say Ange can be sacked now because everybody was expecting him to get to the finals. It's a big game. It's a big week. We are ready to dive into it.
Well, it's an FA Cup weekend, and we have a whole lot of the top teams, um, vying against the much more lower team. But in any case, you mentioned something about Ange, and probably maybe we get to talk about, the result of the Carabao Cup, the one that was played on Wednesday and the one that was played on Thursday. But in any case, let's get into it. Let's start with the FA Cup, the oldest tournament in England. I mean, a lot of people say it's the only competition where there is no favorite. The smaller team can, shock the bigger team. Let's start with the first one. David Goliath match, Leighton Orient versus a Man City side. A lot of people said, Man City are struggling and the rest of that. Leighton Orient aiming to replicate their 1978 semi-final run faces a formidable challenge against Man City. What do you make of this particular game? It's going to be Man City traveling away, and to be honest with you, yes, a lot of people have been coming for Man City, but don't think this is their opportunity to be able to get probably a title this season, since a trophy this season rather, since they will not be since they will not probably be winning the EPL.
Of course, this is this and the Champions League are the only competitions where they can put have their hands on a trophy. Um, the the FA Cup is more realistic, and they can still pull up big surprise. I think the Champions League will be a bit harder with the strength of teams there. Um, Leighton Orient, they will blame their life because this is a wounded and a hungry Man City that is looking for redemption. They are going to put nothing. It's not going to be less than five.
So you feel there will not be any shocker in this particular round.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
in the past we've seen smaller teams, knock out the bigger teams. Smaller team pulling out the result. I remember a particular um, FA Cup final where Wigan won against a star-studded Man City. Don't you think Leighton Orient can shock Man City, owing to the fact that the FA Cup has an history of producing, great shocks.
No, not this time. This is a Man City that was brutalized last weekend by Arsenal. They want to brutalize somebody too, and Leighton Orient just came and they will be the victim. It's going to be a whitewash. They will put nothing less than five against Leighton Orient. Write it down.
So I mean, this is more of a game that Man City wants to feature, their stars, not probably rest players and see. I mean, they've signed a couple of players, Nico Gonzalez, Omar Mamouche, and Kusanov. Don't you think it's an opportunity for those guys to play, or you feel Guardiola will want to go with the heavy hitters just to ensure that there is no panic in that particular game?
Of course, this is a game to integrate them into the system and see how they fare. Uh, Nico Gonzalez obviously is the one Pep could have gone for since the beginning of the January transfer window, but I don't know. He was stubborn. He thought he would be able to win without the proper defensive midfielder, um, and he has been struggling. So this is an opportunity for all these guys to play Omar Mamouche, Victor Ruiz, Kusanov, and Nico Gonzalez, and we'll see how they play. But as I said before, it's going to be a whitewash. It will be nothing less than five.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's move over to another, APL side, facing another team in the lower leagues. Fulham will be facing up with Wigan Athletic. Wigan, with a history of FA Cup success, hope to surprise top flight Fulham. Remember, the last time Wigan won the FA Cup, they won it against a star-studded, you know, a star-studded Man City side. Do you think do you think Wigan has a chance against Fulham, owing to the fact that these two sides they have history of rivalry when they were both, playing in the same division?
It's not going to happen. Yes, Wigan have had the history before, but I don't see them overcoming Fulham because this is a Fulham side that the only claim to trophy they have, the only place they can shout and have a shout for trophy is the FA Cup. So I think they will be fielding their best 11 against a lower league side. I don't see Wigan surviving this.
Well, with the likes of, obviously, a lot of people say Man U is not a bigger team anymore. With the likes of Man U, Manchester United, Arsenal getting already out of the FA Cup, do you think, probably this is an avenue for the likes of Fulham to be able to have a shouting chance? I mean, Marco Silva has been very fantastic for the Fulham side in terms of how he's been able to, install his playing style and his legacy in that particular team. Do you think the Fulham team they are ripe enough for, a title at the moment?
Uh, right enough for the title, yes, for the FA Cup because FA Cup, there's no clear favorite. Anybody can win. The way it's been designed, anybody can win. They face a lower league side. If they just get through the ordeal, wait for the next, see what happens. Um, my point is they should just try to win their matches and see what happens in the next. At the end of the day, big teams can pitch against each other, and one of them is out, and Frank might have a chance against a big team, and knock the person out too. So you never can say it's an FA Cup. FA Cup is someone no one can predict because over the years there has been histories of even the Carabao Cup also no one can predict it. All these cup games no one can predict it. A certain Birmingham City beat Arsenal some time ago.
Oh,
I
that's
think
true.
2-1
That's
with
true.
a goal from Obafemi Martins coming off from the bench. Nobody give them a chance, but they won the game. And the funny thing is they were actually relegated that season, and they won the cup. And through that cup they went to the Europa League. I think making it the first team to be in the Europa League from the championship. So
Championship, yeah.
it's good. It FA Cup games are always interesting, but I see Fulham taking all the to the next round.
Okay, and that's fantastic. There's a lot of game to run through, so we'll run through that so that we can, cover a lot of other things. Also, there's a Premier League clash. There's Everton versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth has been very fantastic under Andoni Raola. Is a Bournemouth team at the moment they are punching above their weight. There is also an Everton who is resurging under a David Moyes. They both face each other in the FA Cup. Everton aims to use the FA Cup as a springboard to salvage their season. And Bournemouth has a history of defeating Everton and we look to continue that trend. I mean, the head-to-head, Bournemouth is always having joy against an Everton side. However, with David Moyes taking the reins in the last couple of games, he has only lost one in the last 4 games, and in the last 5 games, and he has been able to win 4 games in a row, which has been able to catapult them from where they were in the league. Yes, the two teams play in the EPL, but the FA Cup seems to be different. With Bournemouth having the upper hand, do you think the outcome will be different tomorrow?
Bournemouth is the giant killer. I don't know. It's an FA Cup game. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what will happen. But I'm tipping Bournemouth to win. Um, Bournemouth in a game where you think they might struggle. That's when they come out flying. People felt they would struggle against Nottingham Forest. They came out flying with like 9, 10 players injured. Is almost going to be the same thing. People will feel they will struggle against an Everton side that is resurging under Davis Moyes. But again, Bournemouth, they are the giant killer. They know how to do these things. Raola has been wonderful this season, and I think they will put out Everton.
But the thing is, Everton has been so efficient in how they line up their team, especially under David Moyes. They are not a team that boasts the best of stars, but they are very prudent in how they defend, how they attack. If you look at, probably a lot of people might say it's in the early days. If you look at the number of goals they've conceded since, Moyes took over, there has been a lot of reduction in that. I mean, don't you think they'll probably apply the same thing, hit you on the tank, hit you on the counter, and probably get the goals, owing to the fact that a Bournemouth side, even remember when they played against Nottingham Forest, they had 10 players out. However, they never stopped attacking. They were attacking all day long, and they ended up winning that particular game. Don't you think, Bournemouth has a particular way of playing? Don't you think the way Everton will set up will probably in that Bournemouth, and that will probably give Everton the upper hand in this particular game?
The point is in that 4 5 games, David Moyes have been able to he has been able to win 4 games on the bounce. In those 4 games, who has he played? What team has he played? What is the firing power of the teams he has played? That's very important also. What is the firing power of the teams he has faced? He has not faced a Liverpool, not a Chelsea, even not the Man United that is struggling. So fine, we understand that they are resurging under him. Of course, they are winning games and turning out points and trying to get out of the relegation zone successfully. He has done that. But a Bournemouth side that has scored, I think he has scored 5 goals 3 times this season. I think
Yeah, more,
on
more, more
three
than yeah on 3 occasions. Yeah,
on 3 occasions this season. As his players scored hat tricks on 3 occasions this season. This is a team that is firing in all cylinders. The attack might just be too much for Everton to handle.
I know, but the question is this: if you look at the number of goals that Everton has scored under David Moyes, it's almost eclipsing the total number of goals Everton scored under a Sean Dyche. I mean, one of the problems they had under Sean Dyche was they hardly score goals. But now, in the last couple of games, I mean, they've been scoring more than 2 goals. And, these are people that couldn't find the back of the net before. Don't you think, Moyes has been able to change something and that might, you know, come into play in this particular game against Bournemouth?
And that's why I said the best form of defense is attack. Who are the teams they were playing with? That's very important. What is the firepower of the teams they were playing with? Is another important thing, because if the teams they are playing with are not really creating chances and putting them on the back foot, then they are going to come out attacking and they will score. And Dokore has been amazing also. Dokore in the middle of the park has been free flowing, going up and down, and it has been a wonderful 4 5 games for them. But for this Bournemouth side that has been firing all season, beating so many big teams, I don't see Everton surviving it. I really don't see it.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's go to, the battle of the inconsistent Newcastle. Well, in any case, they were consistent. They were able to, dispatch an Arsenal side on Wednesday, scoring scoring 2 more goals, making it for getting to the final of the Carabao Cup. And I think that might also play into the fact that they are going to this particular game with a whole lot of confidence. Newcastle will be facing off against Birmingham City later on Saturday. Newcastle manager they are faces a tactical astute Birmingham side led by Chris Davis. Chris Davis has been very fantastic with Birmingham. Since joining, they've been able to turn out results, and they don't have the best of players, but it's been able to manage the little talent they have to produce results and punch above their weight. Birmingham will look to capitalize, on home advantage at the St Andrews. Do you think, with the inconsistency that plagues in Newcastle. Today, Newcastle will show up and play. The next moment, you don't see Newcastle. Don't you think the inconsistency will come to bear in the game against a tactically astute Birmingham side led by Chris Davis?
For me, Newcastle again. You don't know what you get. If we get the Newcastle that played against Arsenal and practically played at Arsenal and dismantled them, humbled Arsenal obviously. If we get that Newcastle, Birmingham is not surviving it. But again, if we get the Newcastle that played and lost 4-1 against Bournemouth, then it's going to be tough. Um, I feel Eddie Howe should not rest any players. They have more chances in taking these cups. Obviously, the Carabao Cup, they are going to be in the final with Liverpool. It's not going to be an easy game. Um, they might win, they might lose. Nobody knows. But it's not going to be an easy game. Of course, they are coming in as the underdog. But in the FA Cup, they should try and feed in their full team, win, and at least try and see. You never can say what happens. A big team might end up beating another big team, and it will give you a chance to face a Tottenham maybe. You never can say. Nobody knows.
Uh, but, but, but,
Nobody
but,
knows.
but the thing is, I've said consistently, Newcastle, especially Eddie Howe, he needs to deliver a trophy if he wants to keep his job at Newcastle. Yes, um, they are coming from a backdrop of making it to the final, knocking out um, an Arsenal side. I mean, from the first leg, you already knew where the game was going. Don't you think this in itself will be a confidence booster for them? Don't you think them getting to the final of the Carabao Cup will probably gear them towards consistency in terms of the result that they put out on any game day?
They've done so many things on game days, and the next game they ended up flopping their chances. So it's not a yardstick to say it's going to boost their confidence, because so many times they've won matches and played well in matches that people felt, wow, this is Newcastle, bravo. And the next game they ended up being inconsistent again. So it's not something that is going to be easy. Of course, if Eddie Howe does not win a trophy this season, he needs to be fired. They need to bring in somebody that is worth the kind of money Newcastle has been spending, because people forget Newcastle has been spending money for the past 2 to 3 seasons now, and they should be having a trophy for it.
So, I mean, Newcastle, Birmingham, what do you think takes it for you?
Newcastle,
Newcastle takes it, right?
yes.
Okay, okay, that's fantastic. Let's go to another EPL clash. It's going to be against Chelsea facing off against, Brighton. Um, Chelsea will be traveling to Brighton, and you know for a fact that the last game Chelsea played, they lost scandalously to um, Man City, a top side. The next game, they were able to dispatch West Ham United, winning 2-1 in that particular game. Brighton, they've not been having the best of times. I mean, it has been very terrible for them, losing scandalously with huge margins, and probably this might be an opportunity for them to be able to turn things around against the Chelsea side that create chances and do not score. I mean, their midfielder Carlos Baleba will probably be also featuring, and Chelsea will be also be wary of the attacking, the attacking powers of a Brighton side. They are a high quality counter attacking side that always can hit you on the tank, on the counter with the likes of Mitoma and the rest of them on their day when they show up. Do you think this is going to be a very difficult game for Chelsea, owing to the fact that Chelsea has also been inconsistent in front of goal? They have a goalkeeper situation, and their strikers their strikers are not consistent.
For me, Brighton is not playing Man United every week. I said it here. Uh, it's not Man United they are facing. It's Chelsea. I see Chelsea winning. This is a Brighton side that I don't know. Once they are not facing Man U, then they are totally down. Um, it's going to be a scintillating game for Chelsea, because Chelsea side needs to win to boost their confidence going into the EPL and everything. So I feel Chelsea is going to put them away. Brighton, yes, fantastic, yes, they play well on their day, but this is not their time. They not been in good form. Considering seven against a Bournemouth side is totally unacceptable. Um, they might not be able to concede seven today, but at least I know Chelsea will put three past them.
But I mean, if you had considered 7 goals, your coach would expect you to respond, and a form of response would be, going to this particular game against a Chelsea side that creates a whole lot of opportunity, but do not have the cutting edge striker to put the ball in the back of the net. Don't you think, them wanting to react will probably be a trigger for them to be able to go after Chelsea and probably get the point, owing to the fact that, Chelsea does not take their chances.
Even if Chelsea does not take their chances, Chelsea are where they are. It's not by mistake. Um, Again, Chelsea are they are still finding their feet, which um, is understandable. It's Enzo Maresca's first season. There are so many players there. They are trying to cut out players. You could see Joao Felix has gone to AC Milan. Players are moving. They are trying to narrow up the squad so that at least they could know what players to be playing and which and what to be playing, which is which is good for them. So for me, I feel they are going to win. Yes, Brighton will try to bounce back. Brighton will try to fight. Considering seven, the previous game is a hard pill for them to swallow. The fans will want them to do something, but I think the firepower of Chelsea is just too much, and they will end up losing.
Okay, let's go to Newcastle. They were able to turn their game around against, against Tottenham. Tottenham won the first leg 4-0 in the Carabao Cup, and they came back 4-1. Going to this particular game, remember Plymouth used to have Manchester United legend Wayne Rooney as their coach. However, they had to live on mutual consent. They had to live by mutual consent. Plymouth under new manager Miron Mulisic hopes to surprise Liverpool. Liverpool may rotate their squad, but will still pose a significant threat. Home Park will be buzzing with anticipation for this David and Goliath clash. I mean, definitely Plymouth plays in the lower league, and their performance at the moment is not even anything to write home about. That's the reason why you had a Wayne Rooney leave abruptly. Um, this is an opportunity for an slot focusing on the league now. They have a very tough game coming up. They are gaming against Everton. They are going to play that game very soon. I think sometimes next week. Don't you think? And the slot resting players might probably prove to be his downfall. Remember, he did it in the Champions League and they ended up losing that particular game because I don't see him
Uh,
playing all his full players in this particular game.
he's going to rest players, and they're going to win because even when he rest players against PSV in the Champions League, they almost won. Um, they got beaten 3-2. Where PSV was not really that fantastic. Fine, they lost, but you could still see the quality. That's why I said sometimes injuries are not really an excuse for a team because it's the style of play is the style of play. Um, so for me, it's the style of play that is going to beat the team, and Plymouth is going to lose. Obviously, they are trying to bounce back under a new manager, but I see Liverpool resting players and still getting the job done.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's go to the last game before we move away from the FA Cup and we dive into the Carabao Cup proper and probably dissect what happened in those games. Um, Marcus Rashford, he will be turning up for Aston Villa against Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur will be going away to Aston Villa. Um, Rashford looks to prove what as Villa's spots. Marcus Rashford on loan to Aston Villa looks to prove his worth to Tottenham against Tottenham. Tottenham aims to avoid an upset and continue in their cup run. Tottenham has been very inconsistent. Um, Ange is very, very adamant about his style of play. He has said he will never change his style of play for any reason, even if it means that they are going to relegation. On the other hand, there is a Marcus Rashford who will be lacing his boot for any club for the first time in almost 2 months. What do you make of this particular game? An inconsistent Tottenham battling with injury, with a stubborn coach that will never change his style of play, and a Marcus Rashford who is trying to shut critics up.
Um, for me, it's a good move for Rashford. Still feels weird seeing him in an Aston Villa shirt. It's a bit weird, but it's a good move for him. Um, I think he could have gone abroad. AC Milan, Barcelona. I think they were all in talks. He should have gone abroad. Would have been better. Going to Everton, going to Aston Villa. I don't know. Champions League football promised. Obviously, that's part of the reasons why they will choose Aston Villa. It's good. Let's see what he does. I hope he performs very well. I hope he tries to prove people wrong. I hope he performs very well so that at least when he comes back to United, Man U can sell for big money and make profits. So I hope he performs very well in Aston Villa. But I don't know. The match is going to be a tough one. Tottenham coming back on the back of losing to Liverpool over the week, and it's going to be a very very tough match. And again, Tottenham does not win a big game, so Tottenham will be Tottenham again, and Aston Villa might just take the day.
But do you think it's high time Ange drops his the unnecessary sticking to what I know best, and probably try and adapt to what is on ground. I mean, you are battling with injuries. Um, you don't have enough players to do the job for you to play the kind of game you are playing, um, and you continue to play a high line. I mean, it's not supposed to adapt to what's on ground. I mean, this is also an Aston Villa side that is also struggling. Remember, they just sold John Duran, and there's a Rashford coming to play for them. Don't you think this plays with how stubborn Ange is? Don't you think this plays into Unai Emery's hand?
For me, again, those are the things that make the biggest coaches the biggest coach and the lower coaches the lower coach, because a a an Ancelotti, you will see him tweak his team over time. If he will tweak his team, you have to play to your strength. No matter how you look at it, fine, you don't want to change your style of play, but if part of your players are injured and the players you have cannot carry out the the information you have, the style of play you want to play on the pitch, then you have to change to suit the players that you have. That is what you need to do. I understand that you want to be stubborn and play your style of play, and in the long run, Tottenham are going to enjoy it. But what about the players that you have? They are injured, so why not put play what they can play best, play what they can play with the players they can play with what suits their talent. Not you will see. That's why at Real Madrid I respect Zidane a lot, because at the time whereby he noticed Ronaldo cannot no longer play on the wing, he can't do it anymore. He can't because of the injury he had in 2013 is already affecting him. So he can't really play like that again. So he developed a situation for them, and we always play a 4-4-2 formation with Benzema and Ronaldo up top, Bale and Lucas Vazquez on the wings as wide midfielders, or sometimes he's not going to use Bale, he will use Asensio and Lucas Vazquez, or sometimes it will be Isco and Vazquez, or there's a way we rotate the team and to suit Ronaldo, and you could see they won 2 Champions League with it. The first one they won was not like that, but the last two they won, that was what he practically did, and they won 2 Champions. That is what makes a great coach, creating a beast out of what you have. So you could understand this Tottenham side. They are all the players, almost all the players are injured. Key players are injured. You have players that cannot play a exact way you want to play. Why not tweak your system a little bit? You are playing a high line. Okay, step back. You don't have the fast defenders. You don't have defenders that can run and beat up the ball. You don't have defenders that are IQ, that are smart enough to keep an offside, because the importance of a high line is to keep an offside so that the players running behind can be can be in an offside position. You can't do it very well. Why not play what the players you have can play? Because if they ended up playing this way, they of course we know they won't relegate, but they will be closer to the relegation spot at the end of the season.